Hello everyone. So in the last class we just discussed with regard to sources of capital and the factors, and also we continued with the cost of, what do you mean by cost of capital, and the factors influencing the cost of capital. Now we just go with the calculation part, that is how to calculate the cost that has been incurred on two important components, that is debt and equity. When it comes to debt, that is we come across with a debenture, we call it as a debenture. So debt is, there are two types of debt, that is irredeemable debt and redeemable debt. When it comes to an equity, we come across with the three types, that is preference share, equity share and retained earnings. Retained earnings is an internal source of financing. Preference share also consists of two types, that is irredeemable preference shares and redeemable preference shares. When it comes to an equity share, we go with equity shares are dependent on dividends, that is the portion of profit which is being distributed to the shareholders is called as a dividend. Based on dividend and the profit and the growth, we come across with three different approaches, that is dividend price approach, earning price approach and dividend growth method. So you can see in this slide that we have come across with the three different patterns of it, and the last one is cost of retained earnings. Retained earnings, the earnings which has been kept in an organization to meet the urgent needs of the company. So when it comes to debt, cost of debt, as I mentioned earlier, there are two types, that is irredeemable and redeemable. What do you mean by irredeemable debenture? Irredeemable debentures are those debentures, since company has only right to issue a debenture. Debenture issue is a debt instrument. So if I being a company, I'll issue a debenture to a concerned person. That person, one who holds or purchases that particular debentures, is called as a debenture holder. Okay, the person one who holds a debenture, purchase a debenture, would be called as a debenture holder. I being a company should be liable to pay interest for the concerned debenture holder. Okay, so irredeemable debenture means number of years will be absent. So that is the interest will be paid for certain years, but don't know, I can buy back whenever I wish to. I being a company, I can get it back my debentures which has been issued to a debenture holder as per my wish. So based on that will be represented as a irredeemable debentures, where number of years will be absent. When it comes to redeemable debenture, particular years like redeemed, I being selling and I being a company selling and debentures to a debenture holder, where I specify that is your debenture will be redeemed after 10 years, after 5 years, after 2 years, after 3 years. There is a present, that is I'll be specifying a number of years. That is the difference between redeemable and irredeemable. Irredeemable and number of years will be not specified, whereas redeemable number of years will be specified. The same thing will be applicable to the preference share also. Okay, the preference share, where irredeemable, that is the payment. In preference share we do give it as a dividends. Okay, but when debts we give it as an interest. When it comes to a preference share, dividend, as I specified earlier, a portion of profit which is to be distributed to the shareholders, and preference shareholders are the one who has a right to preference to claim over the dividend. First preferential preference will be given for payment of dividend as a preference shareholder. So dividends, number of years will be not specified. So in the absence of number of years, it is called as a irredeemable preference share, where number of years is which has been specified, it is after 10 years, after 5 years, your preference dividend is going to get redeemed. That is called as a redeemable preference share. And when it comes to an equity, cost of equity, dividend discount model, that is based on a dividend we will give it a cost, we will calculate a cost. An earning price approach, operating profit, using of an operating profit we calculate a cost, and also dividend growth approach, we also calculate a based on the growth, that is even dividend has got growth, that is to a certain number of years it will get saturated. So based on the number of years or number of percentage of growth that has been represented to calculate a cost will be calculated using a cost of capital. Okay, we shall start with the problem. Again, you can see the notify, and you can see in the board that the cost of capital would be represented with a debenture. Okay. So, we shall look up to the problems from your next slide, that is irredeemable debenture. When it comes to irredeemable debenture, the formula to be calculated, the cost of capital, as I mentioned in a debenture, is being represented with KD. K stands for cost, D stands for debt. As I mentioned, debenture is a debt instrument. We will be paying, company will be paying an interest to you. Okay, interest to a debenture holder. So, I 1 minus tax rate, of course, tax is a protection shield that will be used to calculate, and FE stands for a face value, and there is one more or. This is bar, there is nothing but you can use a face value or net NP. NP stands for net proceeds. Okay, what do you mean by net proceeds? Net proceeds in the sense, while issuing a debenture, I do certain expenses. For example, cost of issue, that is maybe of cost of issue, flotation cost, all those expenses will be deducted from a face value. If there is no adjustments, or there is no cost which has been spent on a issuing of a debenture, will be treated as a face value, and if any expenses that has been incurred on a face value would be deducted, and that deducted, and if it has been considered with the premium or face value or discount, that can be considered in a net profits. So, this is the formula that will be used for cost of capital under irredeemable debt, that is cost of debt is equal to I stands for interest, T stands for tax rate, V stands for face value, NP stands for net proceeds. Yes, when I tell it's a debenture, we have got three concepts: par value, premium and discount. Par value as a face value, par value is nothing but a face value, that is a debenture has been issued. Premium means above the face value, discount below the face value. For example, if the face value is 100 rupees, okay, that is being represented as a par value. If the face value is 100 rupees, premium at 10% means 100 plus premium should be added above the face value. 10% of 100 rupees will give you 10 rupees. So, 110 will become your premium amount, and discount less. Discount means less than your face value. 100 minus discount, that will give you minus 10, that gives you 90 rupees, that will be represented as a net process. Let us start with the problem giving a detailed explanation. When I look up to the first problem, that is X Limited issued 10% perpetual debenture at par. I repeat, X Limited issued 10% perpetual debenture at par at rupees 100. So, you can see here 10% perpetual debenture at par. Par is nothing but a face value. Par is nothing but a face value at rupees 100. So, the face value, so as I given, the face value is 100. Okay, 10%. What is that 10%? 10% is, if you issue one debenture for 100 rupees, 10% is the rate of interest. 100 into face value. Make a note of it. Interest should be calculated only on face value. I repeat, interest should be calculated only on a face value, and again the premium amount, the discount amount should be calculated on a face value. Any expenses which is with regard to flotation cost, cost of expenses, cost of operating expenses which has been given in terms of percentage, it should be calculated on a face value, not on net proceeds. Please make a note of it. When it comes to now, look up to this problem, the face value is 100 rupees and the tax rate is 50. 50 have put it in a decimal, that is 0.50, because 1 is a factor which represent as 100, so tax rate is 50%. So, if calculate the cost of debt, if debenture are issued at 10% discount and if debentures are issued at 10% premium. So, I being selling a debenture at a face value, I repeat, I being selling at a debenture at a face value. So, if I sell at a face value, when you are getting, when I buy back, I will be doing it two method. One is at a discount at 10% and another one is at a 10% of a premium. So, we have to calculate two methods, that is one for discount method, another one is a premium method. So, this is the given. Let us start. So, first we can start with the discount at 10%. Okay, let us calculate first. So cost of debt, we have calculate interest is equal to face value is 100 into 10%, that gives you 10 rupees. Okay, and again we have a face value, but it has been redeemed at, that is, that has been, the debenture are issued at 10% discount. Okay, so first we will calculate the 10% discount and we will calculate the premium value. How do you calculate? So face value is 100, so we will doing it at a discount minus 10% discount. As I told you, 100 into 10%, that gives you 10 rupees, deducted 90 rupees is your net proceeds. 90 rupees is your net proceeds. This is first. Next, that is at for discount. Next, at premium, face value is equal to 100 add 10% premium, that is 10 rupees, 10% that is 100 into 10%, so that gives you, so add 110, this will give you net proceeds. See, they were issuing at a par, okay, for the first, but this they have to we have to calculate the cost of capital for discount and premium. If they would have given it a par face value, directly would have taken 100 rupees in the place of FV. So let us consider at discount, the cost of debt is equal to interest rate is 10 rupees, 1 minus 0.50, that is 0.1 divided by 100, that is 50 divided by 100 would give you, and the whole thing divided by net proceeds for discount is 90, and into 100, you should keep it in a percentage. So that gives 10 into 0.50 divided by 90 into 100, that means that gives you 5 divided by 90, that gives you 5.55%. So this is cost of debt under irredeemable debenture at 10%. Okay. When it comes to the second one, we have to calculate one more cost for premium. So premium, at premium, that is for 10%. So again, cost of debt, we have the same interest 10 rupees and 1 minus tax rate 0.50, and the whole thing divided by, we have calculated 110. Okay. So it means, you can see in the question, let us calculate the cost of debt if the debenture are issued at 10% discount and if the debentures are issued at 10% premium. We have calculated the cost of debt when it has been issued on a discount. Now it has been issued on a premium. Okay. So again, the same method, 10 into 0.50, whole thing divided by 110. So that gives you 5 divided by 110. So the cost of debt is 4.55%. Okay. So at premium, at discount and at premium. This is how we need to calculate the cost of capital under irredeemable debenture. When if they ask you to calculate on a par value, par is nothing but a face value, there is no adjustment. Simple, 10 rupees into 1 minus 0.50, that is tax rate, whole thing divided by 100. That gives you 10 into 0.5 divided by 100, that is 5 divided by 100 will give you 5%. This is how we need to calculate for par value. Since they have not asked a par value, I have not mentioned. So giving you an example, the difference between par, discount and a premium. This is the procedure you need to follow to calculate for a net profits. Let us look up to the second example. Now we can look up to the second example, which has been specified as a company issues 15% debenture of rupees 10 lakh. The company is in tax bracket of 50%. Calculate the cost of debt if the debenture are issued at par at 10% discount and at 10% premium. In the previous problem, we had calculated the cost of debt for a single debenture. Now we are going to calculate it for a total value. So same thing, here we do follow here the same formula. Since see, you can see in the question we have not specified n is completely absent. They have not specified when it is going to get redeemed. Number of years, totally n is absent. That is how you identify its redeemable debentures or irredeemable debentures. So as per this problem, the face value is of this particular debenture is 10 lakh rupees. 15% is your coupon rate or a interest rate. So the step 1, you need to calculate a interest rate, that is 10 lakh into 15%, that gives you 1,50,000. So we calculated 50% tax bracket 0.50, which has been already mentioned, and face value. Yes, they have asked you to calculate when the cost of debt which has been issued at par, premium and discount. First we shall start with the par. So par means what? Face value. What is a face value? 10 lakh rupees. Okay. And so the formula would be KD is equal to I into 1 minus tax rate, whole thing divided by face value into 100. Here 1,50,000 into 1 minus tax rate. This is interest, 1 minus tax rate. Since FV face value is 10 lakh rupees, we specify it as a 10 lakh. So calculate, we get a cost of debt of 7.5%. You can see here. Okay, and the second one at premium, first we have solved instead of doing it discount, we have solved it at a premium of 10%. Since we have made an adjustment, we call it as a net profit. Here we have not made any adjustment. Suppose if they have given cost of issue, flotation cost, any expenses incurred on while issuing of a debenture, that needs to be considered here in a face value also. Since they have not given anything, we are directly going up with this. Okay. For FV is equal to 10 lakh, since it's a premium above the face value, so that is 10%, 10% of face value will give you 1 lakh rupees, so the net proceeds is, NP is 11 lakh. And again at the discount, the face value is 10 lakh and less discount is 10%, discount should be deducted less than the face value, and the NP is 9 lakh. Okay. So here face value 10 at par, now at premium 10%, increase above, at discount below the face value. Substitute the given. So given interest we have calculated 1,50,000, 50% is the tax bracket and 11 lakh. So 75 substitute, and when we calculate we will get around cost of debt as 6.81. When it comes to discount also, you can see 9 lakh. So substitute the value interest into 1 minus tax bracket divided by 9 lakh and the 75 divided by 9 lakh. It will give you cost of debt will give you 8.33%. That means cost of debt for par is 7.5, for premium is 6.8, for discount is 8.33. So you can see here there is for premium the cost would be lesser comparatively from the discount to the par value, but apart from the highest, when you give it a discount, the cost will be always in a increasing trend, which is at 8.33%. This would be given as an ideal example to calculate an irredeemable debt. This will be useful for method is useful for the calculation of weighted average cost of capital. Cost of debt, whenever we call it as equity, we have got two different: debt, equity, preference shares and retained earnings. So if a debenture has been raised for 10 lakh rupees, as I specified 10 lakh, the cost would be any of the method you can use. If the debt is of 10 lakh, the cost can be of any of these three method you can use this as per the statement which has been asked in your question paper. You can look up to it and calculate on those method. Okay, how do you identify irredeemable or redeemable? I am stressing this point again and again. Irredeemable, number of years will be absent; redeemable, number of years will be present. That is, there is a redeemable value. There will be a redeemable value in RV. Irredeemable, the cost of issue itself will be considered as the value. So net proceeds is the major concern. Okay, do not get confused with the issue and the redeemable value. Here redeemable value is an absent. Now let's move on to the next one, that is the concept which is called as redeemable value. Redeemable debenture, as I specified, the number of years, redeemable value, the debenture will be redeemed after 10 years, 12 years, 13 years, and specified number of years. So look up to the example 1, that is ABC Limited issued 10,000 10% debenture of rupees 100 each. That means 10,000 10% debenture, 10% is your interest rate, 10,000 is total number of debenture, one debenture will cost you 100 rupees. Redeemable in 10 years, underline, redeemable in 10 years, N is equal to 10 years, time at a premium of 10%. That means if I issue at 100 rupees face value to you, when I buy back your debenture, I will be giving you 10 rupees extra. That cost is called as a redeemable value, RV. Okay, that is maturity. In bond we do call it as a maturity value, here we do call it as a redeemable. You can call it as a maturity value. After 10 years, if I purchase a debenture at 100 rupees, while after 10 years I will be giving you, if you purchase for 100 rupees, I will be giving you 110 rupees. The 10 rupees is called as extra amount, which is called as a premium amount. Okay, that is of 10% premium. That is called as a redeemable value. The cost of issue was rupees 25,000. While I am issuing a debentures to you as a debenture holder, I do some expenditure on issue, cost of issue, maybe of printing charges, maybe of some maintenance charges, maybe of some other expenses like recruiter expenses for distribution of debentures, slotting of the bonds, all these will happen. So in that time I would have spent 25,000. That is an expenses which should be considered for issue of debentures. Okay, that is an expenses need to be considered while calculating a net proceeds. And the company income tax rate is 35%. Determine the cost of debenture if they were issued at par, premium 10% and discount at 10%. Here issue price will be considered as a net profit and redeemable price will be considered as a redeemable value. You can look here, you can see the formula. The cost of debt under redeemable debt, the cost of debt is equal to 1 minus tax rate plus RV stands for redeemable value. I have specified here RV stands for redeemable value minus NP. NP stands for net proceeds. In the irredeemable debt, there is no redeemable value. There is no absence. That is number of years to taken to give to purchase back to buy back my debenture. Company has not specified number of years. As per their Wins and Fancies, they would have buy back with certain number of price at premium or discount, whatever it may be. But here they've been specified the redeemable value and minus net proceeds. N specifies the number of years. Okay, and again the average will be taken, that is RV plus NP, whole thing divided by 2 into 100. This is the formula. I have specified I stands for interest, T stands for tax rate, face value, net proceeds and RV. There in irredeemable RV was absent, here redeemable value will be there. According to this question, so the first we should calculate the interest. Let me calculate the face value first. Okay, step 1. The calculation of a face value. Why do we need a face value? Because we need to calculate the premium, discount and the expenditure to calculate the net proceeds. So the given value should be considered, taken to calculate all this. So how many number of debentures were issued? 10,000 debenture at 10% for rupees 100. So 10,000 into 100 rupees, that gives you 10 lakh rupees. This is step 1. So the face value is 10 lakh rupees. In the previous they would have given directly, but here you have to multiply this, since you can do it for one debenture or total value of debenture. Here I am showing you for a total value of debenture. If you do it for single debenture, that is number of debentures per debenture, you will get the same cost of debt. If you do it for the total value, you will get the same answer. Interest, as I mentioned, interest should be calculated only on a face value. How much is the interest rate? 10,000 into 10%, 1 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh you have got it. Tax rate they have mentioned. Tax rate they have mentioned it as a 35%, so 0.35. RV. First we will calculate net proceeds, then we go with the other. N stands for number of years. Number of years in the problem they have given it as a 10 years. So N stands for, N is equal to 10 years. Yes. So, step 1 to calculate face value. Why do we need face value? To calculate the interest and also the net proceeds. Step 2, interest we calculated. Step 3, calculation of net proceeds. Calculation of net proceeds at par, premium and discount. So, face value is 10 lakh. Now, I have deducted cost of issue. Yes, while issuing of debenture, we have spent certain expenses that should be deducted from your face value. In the previous problem, that is on irredeemable debt, we had taken face value exactly. That is why I specified FV bar NP. FV bar is nothing but or NP. If face value should be deducted, if you are issuing at a face of par value, premium or discount, we have to consider the expenses. Due to that, we consider it as, we take it as a net proceeds. So, face value is 10 lakh, cost of issue 25,000, so 9 lakh 75,000. So, here when we are calculating cost of debt under par, we will take NP as a 9 lakh 75,000. So, this is for at par value. So, RV we will take, RV will come up to 11 lakh, I will tell you how. Now, the second one, at premium 10% as specified in a 10%, same method, face value 10 lakh rupees, 10% on your face value 1 lakh, that gives you 11 lakh rupees, and you have to deduct the expenses that has been incurred, and that is, what is the total expenses? 25,000. So, your net profits will be 10 lakh 75,000. So, when you are calculating cost of debt at premium, your net proceeds will be 75,000. And at discount, okay, the face value is 10,000, discount should be deducted, which is 10%. So, you will get 9 lakh, cost of issue is 225,000. So, net proceeds is 8 lakh 75,000. So, this is the net proceeds under discount. So, one, I calculated, interest is been calculated, net proceeds, par, premium and discount. You have to calculate the cost of debt for par, premium and discount. Now, step 4, calculation of redeemable value. Yes, I issued at first situation, I issued at a face value, that is par value for 9,75,000. What is the redeemable value? I have specified ABC Limited issued 10,000 10% debentures of rupees 100 each, redeemable in 10 years at a time of premium. So, it has been redeeming. If you issue at par, if I give you at par face value, if I give you at premium, if I give you a discount, while redeeming it, I will be redeeming at a premium. Did you understood? So, if I sell it at a face value, I will be redeeming at a premium value. If I sell it at a premium value, again I will be redeeming at a premium value. If I am selling at a discount value, again I will be redeeming at a premium value. This is what it has been. In the irredeemable debt, redeemable value was an absent and number of years was absent. That is, it has been ignored. So, here face value is 10 lakh and at 10%, that means after 10 years when I buy back your debenture, I will be giving you 1 lakh rupees extra, that is 11 lakh. While issuing, I will be issuing at 9,75,000, and if it is of a premium 10,75,000, you can redeeming, you will get extra 25,000, and again 8,75,000 issue at a discount, I will be redeeming at a premium of 11,000. Okay. So, you can see here 1, 2, 3, this is how you need to calculate. Face value, interest, first step is face value, second step is interest, third step is calculation of net proceeds, fourth step is to calculate a RV, that is a redeemable value. Okay. Substitute the component, interest, how much you have calculated, that is 1 lakh rupees, 1 minus tax rate, that is 0.35, redeemable value 11 lakh minus, first you have to calculate it for par. So, par is for 9,75,000 and then N stands for 10 years and RV stands for redeemable value for certain number of years, that would 10 years, that would be 11 lakhs. Substitute the value and calculate cost of debt. Yeah, you just see how did you, in the last slide we just saw how to calculate net proceeds at par, premium and discount. We shall continue here. See, so and the interest rate, first step 1 we calculated, we got it 1 lakh rupees and redeemable value 11 lakh, and the net proceeds at par is for 9,75,000. N stands for number of years. If you substitute this, you will get an average of cost of debt of 7.46. So, cost of debt is 7.46. If you do it at a premium, you have got around 10,75,000. So, same thing, substitute 10,75,000, 10,75,000, average the value, 1 minus this is 0.65, you will get it. So, 65,000 you will get it here around, multiply with this 11 lakh minus 10 lakh 75, 25 divided by 10, and then total 22 lakh something 75, on an average you will get around 10 lakh 87 500. So, at a premium. So, when it comes to, you will get a cost of debt of 6.20 at a premium. Cost of debt at a premium, for at par you got it 7.46, at premium 6.20. For the third method, that is for a discount, you substitute net proceeds, we calculated it is 8 lakh 75 with the same face value, with the same thing. When you do it, you get answer of cost of debt of 8 lakh 86,000. So, this is how we need to calculate the cost of debt under redeemable value. So, this is the formula, you need to calculate RV, NP and N. N is number of years, 2 is an average. So, when we do, so for premium 7.46, have shown it for par, premium and a discount. Substitute the value based on par, premium and a discount. Net proceeds will change, redeemable value will remain same. So, hope you understand this. Let us move on to the second problem. You can look up your slide. A company issues 10% of 3 lakh debentures at a discount of 5% for period of 5 years. The debentures flotation cost of rupees 5,000. The corporate tax rate is 5%, 50%. Calculate the cost of debt. Under this problem, they have not specified anything. They have specified that has been issued. They have not specified anything. That means they have issued at par and redeem it at a discount. That is how we need to consider. The face value, step 1, 3 lakh rupees, interest 3 lakh into 10%, 30,000 rupees, redeemable value is 3 lakh rupees. So, net proceeds we need to consider, that is FV is equal to 3 lakh minus discount, that is 5% of your 15. It has been given discount of 5% for 5 years, that is 15,000 rupees, you get 2 lakh 85 less fixed cost for 5,000, that is 2 lakh 80,000 is your net proceeds. Okay. If they have not specified anything, consider RV as a face value. So, you do not get confused with redeemable value and net proceeds. The redeemable value after 5 years, after 6 years, after 7 years, if they give it at a discount, premium or par value, you can treat it. But under this problem, we are treating the RV, redeemable value, as a face value only. When we substitute interest, we have calculated, that is 30,000 into tax rate 1 minus, how much is the tax rate, that is 50%, 0.50, RV redeemable value plus 3 lakh, net proceeds we calculated 2 lakh 80,000, number of years is 5, the whole thing divided by 3 lakh plus 2 lakh 80 and divided by 2 into 100. So, simplify it. When we simplify, we will get around, so 30,000 into 0.50, that will give you around 15,000 plus 3 lakh minus 2 lakh 80 divided by number of years, you will get around 4,000. The average you will get 2 lakh 90,000, that is if you do this, that is 3 lakh rupees into 100, the cost of debt is 6.5%. So, this is when they have given. So, here also when I specify the cost of debt redeemable, so N will be present. Hope you understand the problem based on cost of debt irredeemable and redeemable. Thank you. Next, we will move on to the cost of preference share. That is, the cost of preference share in debt is a debenture, so we pay interest. So, when we are issuing a preference share which come under equity, equity consists of preference share, retained earnings and equity share. preference share means one who have a preferential right to claim over dividend. Okay. Equity share, it's an ordinary share issued to shareholders, they'll be treated as a member of a company. Whereas retained earnings, earnings which is kept under organization after distributing and dividends, the earnings, the total earnings which has been kept in an organization would be called as an retained earnings. Here also we come across with the irredeemable preference share and redeemable preference share. The tax rate is nil, since tax rate interest of tax rate protects from a tax shield, that is, since we pay interest, since we are paying interest, that is an expenses, the tax can be deducted, while profit is an profit is a operating profit, we do not consider with the tax, we ignore tax, we cannot calculate for the profit which has been distributed to the shareholders. Hence, in a preference share we do not consider the tax rate. So, next we will move on to the next one, that is cost of preference shares, that is redeemable and irredeemable. First we go with the irredeemable preference share, then we move on to the redeemable preference share. The same thing, instead of I we substitute for redeemable preference share, instead of I we go with the D, instead of KD we go with the E, D plus RV minus NP divided by N, RV plus NP. The procedure of NP, everything is one and the same. Let us move on to the next slide, that is cost of preference share.